W-A-G-W, we're all gonna eat well. Hey! Hey! W-A-G-W, we're all gonna eat well. I don't spin slots, I spin ref coins. I need real biz, no farm points. When carts go brr, that's my cue. Solana in seconds, that's just true. 1K OG seats, that's by design. No season 2, you just have one time. This isn't token casino roulette. This is margin on products you get. You want tails, go cope, you want CT and leave it. I want real business, big bands, I mean it. We're fish on a T to a unicorn stance. From the launch day to a billion advance. We don't beg for a pump, we build for a run, that's true. If YB was hope, wage you is food. Who gets paid when the cuts go brr? Who keeps faith when the seas get stirred? What's the code? We always yell. Where'd you? We're all gonna eat well. Nomu, catch that wave. Consumer free, dipping every lane. Cargo ding and the split hits main. Solana and abstract on the frame. Nomu, ring that bell. Stack that spread, we print that sale. Hands up, friends, fill that swell. Where'd you? We're all gonna eat well. Ooh, we ride that wave with size. Ooh, the floor stays tight, no lies. Ooh, it's not hope, he miss flow. Ooh, no more rules, sit on chain, go. Bro said send it, I said I did. No mean run, just product led bid. No cheap shills, no airdrops in the routine. Rev coins, meta, you know what I mean. When cuts go brrr, you see the tail. Num GMs when the product sell. Don't be poor man, let bags not blind. If you chase token casinos, you in the gym of mine. From a fish in the sea to a unicorn brand. Quarter on quarter, let the figures land. Partnerish community cut in the fam. No sex, no MM, we scrap that scam. From GM to GN, I'm bass not loud. Solid profits with or without a crowd. If what meets hope, wait, you is real. Revenue splits when the tails go drill. Moon isn't luck, moon is math. Inventory right and a repeat path. Cash my backs, buy back some flow. OG seats wide to the goods we grow. Nomu, catch that wave. Consumer fee dripping every lane. Cargo ding and the split hits main. Solana and abstract on the frame. Nomu, ring that bell. Stack that spread, we print that sale. Hands up, friends, fill that swell. Where you were all gonna eat well.
Okay, and we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Danny's Open Kitchen, episode number 8. The comments are popping off. I'm live here from Asia. It is 11 o'clock at night, and I could not be more excited to do this with you guys right now. Thank you everybody for joining from Twitter, from YouTube. If you guys are here for the first time and are watching this passively, you are doing it wrong. Where it's at is in the comments. You can see everybody coming through. Let's highlight who's with us today. We got Valup Tilou as number 1. We got Vivianos, Luca, everybody here joining the Open Kitchen. It's been a while, and today's a big one because today we're live for the first time speaking to you about everything that's happened since the mint of the OG NFT. This is going to be a huge episode. I'm going to try and keep it short, but the information is dense and it's packed. I'm going to try and go through everything. I salute everybody who's here in the comments. We've got Sander Kruger, we've got Luca, Le Sicilien, Simon, Absenteist, of course, Theo in the house. Welcome to Too Many Absenteist, Cyber Brother, highlighting you here. All right, guys. What's going to happen over the next half an hour is we're gonna go deep into the behind the scenes of Nomu. I'm gonna tell you everything that's going on, that has been going on since the mint, and where we're heading next into the future. What we did a couple of weeks ago, with the pre-sale and the mint, has been incredible. We've broken records, literally transported ourselves to number one NFT collection on Solana by volume. Completely crazy. And today it is my duty and my honor to unpack all of that, let you know where we're heading next. And without further ado, I'm going to jump over to our lovely slides. I hope you can see me here in the corner. The title of today's episode is What's Happening Next for the OGs. There's 1,000 OGs that have been minted. Got over 250 unique holders already. and the number is growing by day. The floor price is going up. Now, one point we have to ask ourselves, where's it going to go? Because Nomu, we know for one thing, that is pushing narrative, that is pushing ideas to new limits, to new breaking frontiers, and that's what we're going to try and do with the OGs today as well. So if this is your first time joining, again, don't watch this passively. Join the chat either on X or even better on YouTube. There's a link somewhere in the Nomu profile. If you go the last 2 tweets, you'll see the YouTube link. Go in there. It is most fun in the chat when you get to speak to all the lovely people in real time, ask the questions as they come up. We've got Crypto Theo, who obviously is a dancing queen. Yay, Danny from Absentiste. Analyst Joseph, who's telling us text yellow go. I guess that's a bunch of emojis. Welcome to you. Mika, hello. Gwen Wed, hello. Pat, welcome, man. And Wang Yu. Analyst Joseph is bullish as always, and so am I, because today I've got loads to tell you. Let's dive right into it. See if this works, this beautiful slide system. Well, the big headline is this. We actually became the #1 NFT collection by volume on the day that we do the pre-sale. And it wasn't even close. The next best one was Mad Lads, and we topped their volume of the day by double the amount. So it wasn't even close. We literally became the #1 collection on Solana. And that just shows one thing, is that whatever's happening here in this small little bubble of ours, of this orange fish, is something powerful. It's something that's potentially much bigger than any of us realize as individuals. There's some degree of magic that is coming together and that's allowing us to propel us to these heights. Because if you think about it, there's really no particular reason why Nomu should be the #1 collection on Solana. If you compare us to all of this huge collection that's been going on for years, we're clearly not there yet, but something is happening. It's something that in the team we've been noticing over and over again. Like, things just fall into place for Nomu, and there's a natural synchronicity to events that allow us to just pull off these amazing things. This project was born 4 or 5 months ago, and we just became the #1 collection on Solana. Absolutely crazy, and that is all due to you, to the community. I think if there's one thing that we managed to do well is convey a shared mission and a belief system within all of us, and now it is our job as a team to materialize this vision. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. This is the agenda. We're first going to do the quick recap of what happened actually since the mint. Then I'm going to show you what, on a personal level, I believe NFTs are actually all about and what they're not. Because if this is your first mint, and I know that from the stats that we can see, this is actually the first NFT mint for many, many people here. So this is how people got their feet wet with NFTs. We want to provide the best possible experience and show everybody that NFTs are not what you heard 2-3 years ago about, speculative JPEGs that led to absolutely nothing and just ended up being some kind of prolongated pump and dump. NFTs are great community building tools and serve incredible utility when done well. And we want to, through the OG NFTs, showcase how this can be done in the best possible way and act as a best-in-class example also for future projects to come. So for that, the next topic is the roadmap for OGs. What can you actually expect over the coming month, and what will this look like? And lastly, I'm going to broaden the scope, and we're actually going to talk about the roadmap for Nomu. Beyond the OGs, how does that fit into the bigger picture? And what is this bigger picture to begin with? All right, if everybody's ready, let's rock and roll. Here's some quick stats for everybody. As of this morning when I completed this slide, we were more than 250 unique holders, which is an incredible ratio for this first initial NFT collection. It also means that on average, there's 4 NFTs per holder, which is also incredible. It just shows the amount of conviction. This is the beginning of an army. This is really, if you think about it, the size of a village, typically speaking. If you guys ever read Sapiens, great book, recommended, it's about 150 people. Right now, we're becoming a bigger village. It's becoming into a very small town. The next hurdle is now to obviously distribute these NFTs to as many people as possible and get closer to this 1,000 unique holder mark. But it's an incredible stat. Volume is, as of right now, 100 SOL accumulated. SOL price today is at $200. So make the math. The volume organically is flowing in. We've got a market cap of close to $300,000 for an NFT collection that is literally just us who started this from nothing. And most importantly, the floor price is doing incredibly well. We see resilience. we see conviction among all of us. And we are actually, depending on where you got in, but if you got in at the OG pre-sale price, you're up 85% on your initial commitment, which was $165, and close to 50% upgrades if you're went in at the friends and family round. So great stats, bullish stats, and I could not be happy about this. We actually got Absenteeist right here in the comments, who is the #1 volume provider on all the OG NFTs. So I salute you. I think alone, if I'm not mistaken by memory, you did like 20 sol of volume on your own, which is completely ridiculous. Cyber Brother says sexy numbers. They are very much indeed. Sander is not selling, and nor am I. And I'm going to tell you now over the next coming minutes why, nor should you. And this is not financial advice, but, you know, take it with, it's a very strong conviction from my degree. So here's the actual proof of how we got to #1 spot at the day of the pre-sale and the mint, and this is actually post the pre-sale. So this doesn't even account where you see here the volume of the pre-sale itself, which was around $180,000 more or less. So with that, it would have propulsed us even further. Let me go to the next big thing, is that exactly 8 days ago, the mint happened, and 2 days ago, we released our first product. It took us exactly 6 days from mint to first product to ship. The team that we have internally right now is composed of 6 key people. We have 2 full stack developers who are leading the whole technical aspect, which is Ryan, which is you've known for a while, and more recently Matisse. This OG NFT bot that you all played with, and that's amazing because it even allows you to see when you get an offer from someone else on Telegram, you will be notified, be like, hey, Simon, you just got an offer from Absenteeist, or the other way around, Absenteeist, you just get an offer from Simon. That is shown by the OG NFT bot. All of this is due to Matisse. Huge congrats to him. We also have Tidiane, who has done a big part of the art that you see. All of the art of this presentation is done by him. And the NFTs were done together with him and Theo's girlfriend, who is right here. Theo is the beating heart of the community. If you haven't talked to him yet, probably not deep enough in the trenches, go find Theo, and Theo will, if you speak to him nicely, show you all sorts of alpha without me even realizing. So big shout out to Theo, and his girlfriend Gael did most of the art of the NFT, so we are very thankful to her. And then lastly, the latest addition is Victor, who's joining us as a full-time legal counsel, and more about him in just a second. So this OG NFT bot is live. It took us exactly 6 days to ship it. If you haven't tried it out, go on Telegram. It's Nomu the Fish. It's also the link in bio. Click on it, play around with it, and you'll see how fun it is. And there's a whole bunch of things you can do. And so much more actually happening in Telegram, because there's even a game. If you haven't played the game on Telegram, the community will tell you all about that game, which is called Eat or Get Eaten. Now, very big, important topic, guys. I mentioned that the last recruit of the Nomu team was Victor. We actually just hired him last week, which was a consequence of the mint, which allows us to raise some funds, and we have started deploying that by growing the team. And the first hire was Victor. Victor is helping us part-time as a legal counsel internally, and he has got great amounts of experience. I worked with him in the past in Swissborg, and he's just blockchain native legal counsel. And we're so lucky to have him on the team, because a big part of what we're going to do in the vision of Nomu, which is empowering individuals, consumers, and giving value back to them, rewarding them for their efforts in consumption and giving them a share of the value back. All of this is subject to tight compliance regulations. It's not just as simple as us being able to go, hey, here's a revenue share. That doesn't work. There's certain things that we need to do this properly, and so that this works long-term for all people all across the world. So now that there's a nice philosophical saying, or even mental framework, that goes something along the lines of, whenever you accomplish something in life, your first reward typically is the next challenge. Any success that you have in life, whether it's personal, it's professional, it would most often be immediately met with the next challenge right across. And for us right now, it is the challenge of making sure that we are airtight on a compliant basis. If everybody's been in Swissborg for a while, and I spent 4 or 5 years at Swissborg, compliance is critical. You can't ignore it. As much as we all DeFi, CryptoPunks, and we love the original ethos of Web3, we need to channel that ethos of permissionless distributed power to the people in a way that is still compliant with regulations. Otherwise, you will burn yourself before you even get started. Now, what is the next challenge that we unlocked? Well, with the Mint, we became something on the map of Solana. People have started noticing us. And so with that comes real responsibility. We now need to make sure that all the products that we bring out forward are compliant with different security regulations, of course, but as well also of how we raise money, deploy money. All of those things are very, very important. So Sander raises a very good question. Is the OG NFT a security? Of course not. That would bring us in all sorts of legal debacles. The OG NFT is, of course, not a security. And for that, we now need to implement the right measures of how we distribute value in what channels, all of that and much more. I'll tell you about it in a few seconds, but it's a very, very good question. And it's a very relevant question. It's the one that we have been actively solving now for the last week since Victor's joined, and we'll continue to solve as we deploy product. So my key point is, this is nothing that you will notice from the outside, but it's a huge amount of work that goes in behind the scenes that is right now taking a big chunk of my time together with Victor of setting up all the right structure, legally speaking, so that we can actually deploy the vision of Nomu, which is empowering consumers all around the world by giving them value back of the products they buy in a compliant way all across the world. So that applies to OG NFT as well. And the products that we're going to launch, just rest assured that we're doing it with a compliant first outlook. Now, before I go into the OG NFT specifically, because this is the first time for many of us that have minted an NFT, some of us never even owned an NFT. We came into crypto through tokens, and then because Nomu was around, we're like, okay, I want to be part of this. I want to experience. So let me tell you what an NFT actually is and do a little crash course for you guys. And I'm not going to explain you technically what it is. That doesn't matter. I'm going to explain you what it is fundamentally. And there's no better way to explaining something than by first telling you what it is not. And what an NFT, there we go, let me go on, there you go. What an NFT is not right now, at least for me, is a speculative JPEG. We've seen NFTs in previous cycles strictly depend on one singular value accrual mechanism, which was the mint from the primary market and the volume from the secondary market. Once attention faded, volume drifted away, so did the revenue for these NFT projects, and so they inevitably died. These were the communities that were not about utility. They were about the hype, about culture, but unsustained culture. Culture it's fleeting if you can't actually put roots down that will bring through ritual, through events, you need to find one way to actually anchor culture. And if you don't do it, then it's going to fade. And that's what's happened to so many of the old NFTs from the previous era. And that's why also the market right now is in very bad condition for NFTs. Holistically, it doesn't apply to Nomu, thankfully, but for the rest of the market, it's tough spots, just because too many people have been burned with this old meta of NFTs that just were JPEG. It was a meme token with individual drawings in some cases, and that's really all that NFTs were back in the day. Now, I posted something yesterday about the resurgence and the reignition of NFTs. I really believe in that, because NFTs are still today by far the single best community building tool that has existed, not even in Web3, but across technology. Look at us today. We all have skin in the game. We all have a shared mission, a shared value, but have our own individuality that is put forward through these NFTs, through the OGs. And there's some really good examples of what NFTs are and where NFTs are going to go towards. And we as Nomu and with the OG collection will try and be at the forefront of this new meta and actually push it further so that more projects can follow us, because the convictions that we have internally are very, very strong. So what are NFTs actually? Well, NFTs quite obviously are membership assets. Having an NFT of an ecosystem places you at the top of the food chain of that ecosystem. It is, mechanically speaking, a way for projects to essentially get upfront sums of money to then be able to bootstrap a project, grow the project that we're doing right now, as a counterparty to giving those people essentially a lifelong membership towards something. So you're exchanging the model of having a recurring revenue every month to a lump sum upfront, and then deploying that money and rewarding those early believers into the project by giving them that special seat. That's what an NFT actually is. It is the holy grail, the sacred chair of any project, and was your one-time payment to get that spot for life. And you have proof on-chain on your wallet that you have that spot, and it resembles you ideally because there's some individuality to it. So the most important thing that now needs to happen with these memberships is that it actually needs to be tied to something more than itself. The NFT needs to be able to reach value that is not just tied back to its own volume and its own sales. We need to apply clear utility and clear benefits to NFTs to a real ecosystem that is building real product and establishing a real business. Nomu, thankfully, is in that position. So we are building the future of e-commerce through Web3 primitives. We are building the Amazon that actually pays you back for the value you provide as a consumer. And so within that, there's a whole array of things that we will be able to implement. And I'm actually going to speak about the utilities of the NFTs in the next slide, so give me 1 second. The biggest important, crucial aspect of this is that the NFT does the following. It allows you to align with a mission. It allows you to get benefits from the success of that mission while still maintaining individual expression. There's a few great examples on this on Solana, Mad Lads, who are essentially the gold seed of the whole backpack ecosystem through the wallet, the exchange, the derivatives they're going to launch. I know for a fact that they are going to, and I'm not sure if this is public, but they're going to IPO at one point. And as well as the Monkey DAOs, who have done incredible, if you look at their story, the SMB Gen 2, using the Gen 3 to get back the rights of the Gen 2. There's a lot of things that are happening. These are best-in-class examples of de facto memberships in wider ecosystems and value accruing to those seats by a whole different variety of mechanisms. And now let me tell you how we're going to do it with Nomu. So what are OG NFTs? The OG Nomu NFTs is exactly that. It is the heart of Nomu itself. If you hold one or more of those, you're not holding it for its floor value. You're holding it for everything that it will unlock for you in the coming months. And it is my pleasure to today start announcing what those things are. Let's start with before we go to the actual NFTs, telling you what the holistic vision for these NFTs are. And that is exactly what I've been explaining in the last slide. It is to tie them back in to the real business that we're building at Nomu. It is the next push of the NFT meta. The first meta was just JPEGs, speculative. We're speculating on floor price. We were spamming. The whitelist didn't even exist at the beginning. We're just spamming, crashing Ethereum, crashing Solana when different NFTs were being minted. And then we're trying to flip them to the greater full. That was the first meta. The second meta tried to put utilities to some degree into NFTs and allowed you to have some, the worst case scenario was the Discord access. And in some cases, you got something better out of it. Now the next meta is tying NFTs to actual business success. And here's how we're going to do it at Nomu. The very first thing that we are going to allow everybody to have, and I'm very glad to announce this today for the first time, is the IP rights of the underlying art. For me, for us as Nomu, is a no-brainer. It's all about the community, and it is simply the case that if you have the IP, if you hold that NFT, you have the underlying IP, and you're free to do whatever you want with it, commercially speaking included. It doesn't mean that Nomu can't use it. We'll obviously have an agreement with you to be able to use it as well, but you have full commercial rights to use that NFT for whatever you want. More and more projects are going this way. For us, it was a no-brainer from the beginning. So very happy that this is the case, and that we'll make this happen for you. De facto, it's already the case, but this will be legally underwritten in the coming months. Secondly, the OG NFT hub. What we are building right now with the team behind the scenes is essentially a reward center for OGs. One of the big things that Nomu is about giving value back to consumers. Well, there's going to be a special cohort of consumers, which are OGs, who will have full access to all the rewards that are happening. These are going to be different sorts of rewards that I'm not sure I'm allowed to disclose right now. But if you have the OG NFT in your wallet, and the more of the OGs you have, obviously the bigger boosts you have, as has been communicated before, you are in the best position to be able to enjoy all of these rewards, and they are very, very, very juicy. The one reward that we have mentioned in the past is the infamous Nomu rewards pool. The Nomu rewards pool gets fed by sales from Nomu products, our in-house products, and is distributed to OGs. So this is our way of tying the business success of Nomu in a compliant way to OG NFTs. Obviously, this mechanism is still under review because we need to make sure that this is airtight. We don't want to fall under scrutiny, legally speaking, and so therefore we're going to take a bit of time to make this properly. But these are 3 big axes already upon which OG NFT holders have an incredible privilege. You are the top dog in the Nomu ecosystem, and we're going to make you feel that through every single step of the user journey, from what you can do with the own art itself to everything you touch within the Nomu platform, and that's going to be lived through the OG hub, the holders hub, and you'll see all your rewards, all the access that you have, all the perks, as well as, of course, the infamous Nomu rewards pool. Why is it important to have the Nomu rewards pool? Because there is no airdrop. There is no nothing. Nomu is the token itself, as you know, is the ecosystem token where all the buying pressure, that all the volume that comes in from the purchases of the e-commerce site flows back into the Nomu token, and it is a holy grail. Like, we're not giving a single token away, not even to the team, and therefore we need to find a mechanism that works so that OG can benefit from that, and only OGs do. So these are 3 big axes. Any questions at the end, there's an AMA, so you can ask me about them if anything is unclear. But I hope that makes sense to everybody. And this is just the beginning. We'll keep revealing and unlocking more and more perks for you as we have more clarity and the team keeps working on it. Now, that's OGs. Everybody here, I see so many PFPs in the chat that have OGs. We've got Absentees, we've got Le Sicilien. We have got, who else has got a PFP as an OG? We've got Simon in the house who has a Lucid Drake's PFP, which fair enough, because that thing costs like tens of thousands of dollars. So congrats to you, Simon. And actually we have, I'm not going to announce it today, but things are happening with the Lucid Drakes. We got Wise Pagan, who I know had a OG NFT as a PFP a couple of days ago, but changed it to Monkey DAO. Welcome to you. Matt in the house, Matisse, who is one of the magicians behind the whole Nomu ecosystem. And so today I want to tell you about this. What is the bigger picture for Nomu? What can you actually expect now that the OGs have been minted? What does the product look like? What does the actual roadmap, how is it envisioned, and how would it tie back to OGs? So over the next coming months, this is what we will deliver. First of all, we have announced a couple of days ago that we are participating in this time's Solana Coliseum Hackathon, the Cypherpunk one. For those who don't know what the Coliseum Hackathon is, it is the biggest hackathon on Solana, point. That's the simplest way of putting it. The prizes are not only monetary, you can get investments, you can get tickets from different prominent people in the Solana ecosystem and beyond, but more importantly as well, you get huge amounts of publicity, of business development connections, which for us are very important because a big part of our business is the B2B side, bringing people onto the Nomu platform, retailers, brands, as well as, of course, recognition from Solana itself, which will help us a lot with visibility into the wider ecosystem. And because we're Nomu, we're not just participating. We're here to win this. We are going to apply to the consumer DApp vertical. And in this vertical, I did a similar thing, which we'll bring to the table. And from the previous experiences we've had with super teams, the demo days that we've won, we're in a very good position to win this. And we know what needs to be done to win. We know how to build in public. We know how to deliver on certain key dates. And if we do all of those things, I can't promise you, of course, it's not up to me, but we're going to try to bring this win home for the community. And if we do, things might get very wild, very, very quick. So stay tuned for that. It starts at the end of this month and runs for the entirety of October and ends right before Halloween, I think a couple of days before. So by then, all the submissions will be done. We will have built in public the beginning of Nomu. And if that's enough, then we will win, hopefully, the hackathon and everything that comes with it. So how does this actually look like? This is a big slide. So first of all, we have the hackathon coming up. The second big... And before I go for what's obviously on the screen here, the aim of the hackathon, by the end of it, we will reveal the version 1 of the Nomu platform, where you can start buying and earning from real physical products, RWAs that empower you as a consumer to become a co-owner of these products. This starts at the end of the hackathon. That's the big thing we're going to release, the actual Nomu platform. So this is your date to mark. It is put into in exclamation points via the hackathon, but the beginning of Nomu starts at the end of the hackathon. So then the big question is, of course, TG. And the chat today has been very, very opinionated and spoke a lot about TG. I will not announce TG day today, unfortunately. Why? Let me first explain you why, and then I'll tell you the good news. Why? Because we're doing the legal review, and we want to make sure that the token itself, when we launch it, we can launch at full speed and don't hold back because we're unsure about some legal frameworks, things that we need to take into account. It's very important. So we're taking a couple of weeks right now, starting away last week with Victor, our legal counsel, to make sure that Nomu, the asset as well, token, is airtight, legally speaking. So this takes a bit of time, but it is very important for us to get this right. And just given the speed as well and the craziness of the last couple of weeks, like the team, none of us slept. I mean, this is the first week that we actually got back somewhat close to a normal sleep schedule. Giving us a couple more weeks to finish this off properly is, in my opinion, the right way to do it. I think everybody in the chat will agree that the exchange of a couple more weeks to do something properly rather than rush into something at the end of September is definitely worth it. And so whilst I can't tell you the TG day to day, my commitment to you is that at the next Open Kitchen, TG will be announced. So this is the official pre-announcement of the announcement. In true Nomu fashion, at the next Open Kitchen, the TG date is announced. So stay tuned for that one. Simon says when, well, you're going to have to tune in for the next one. We are going to do this roughly around when we release the platform. Why? Because the way I see this right now in the best case scenario is we do really well for the hackathon. We release the first product. Things are live. People can feel the product. They can actually touch it and understand what it is with their own hands. We get the hype from the hackathon. And at that point, TG seems like a pretty good option. Markets is favorable. It's not running away from us right now. So things seem to be aligning again for Nomu in a synchronous fashion. So we're going to ride that wave, and I will let you know very soon when TG happens. So what's after that? Well, then we deploy Nomu at full speed. Nomu Season 1 will be the first batch of collaboration products that we're going to release, as well as our own products in the normal storefronts and in the normal Nomu e-commerce platform. The logos that you see right now, from Raposa to Flojo to Monkey DAO to Soul Brothers, and we salute Simon here in the chat from Soul Brothers, Xbox, Swissbox. These are not even all of them. There's about 2 times as many partners. It just didn't fit in the slide. Otherwise, it was going to be too small. And we're going to release week after week, product with each one of these partners. This is where the beauty of the Nomu ecosystem comes into place, because essentially what happens here is that you pre-buy one of these products, you head out for the funding of it, you get it delivered to you, and as a thank you, you get Nomu tokens in your wallet. So if you're Nomu, because those Nomu tokens were bought back for you in the secondary market, this is critical. It does not come from treasury. It comes from real volume on the secondary market. So it is sane and sustainable. That's a key point that no one else in the industry does yet, and I think that model will be copied very soon. I hope so, at least. The point is that each week a new drop will happen. Season 1 will be intense, and it will be our way to put ourselves on the map and everybody's mind in Solana, at least, starting with Solana and then expanding. So imagine yourself just as a Soul Brothers enjoyer of that podcast, and you get a super cool, sexy, I can't really reveal the product is, but Simon and Eno and I, we've been speaking for a while. Simon knows what I'm talking about. You get this amazing product delivered to you, and then on top of that, you get some Nomu tokens into your wallet. You ask yourself, what is this? What is this token? It is. Start getting interest, and before you know it, you start entering the community. You start understanding everything that's happening around this project, the whole beauty, this whole momentum that is collecting, and it is essentially the most viral possible loop for us to acquire a new community. we are giving tokens to people who are engaged in the products because they bought them, because they were part of other communities, and end up having Nomu tokens in their wallets. And those Nomu tokens were given to them through real buybacks on the secondary markets. So it's real volume, real buying pressure for the token, which obviously means healthy metrics on the price side as well on the volume side. This is incredibly powerful, and we can repeat this over and over and over again with each new partner. So season 1 is happening until the end of the year. Each week, a new drop, a new partner. I can't wait for this. It's going to be essentially putting Nomu on steroids and just shooting for the first moon together with these drops. And then, of course, comes what's after that. So that's as much as I'm going to reveal today. The Nomu, the word that's half cotton off, is the next big thing after season 1. Season 1 is our way to get ourselves into the minds of Solana ecosystem, and then we need to go obviously beyond that. If we are to become the Amazon of Web3, that instead of doing cheap dopamine hit purchases, you get actual value back from the products that work, that you back, then we need to go much further than Solana. So this is the vision, this is our mission, and this is the plan to make it happen. The next few months are going to be extremely, extremely exciting and hardcore for the team. So apologies for the team, but it's worth what we're trying to achieve here. Guys, tous les francophones, I'm going to switch back to English, but if you haven't gotten all of this, we have a huge part of the community that's French-speaking, French native. In about 2 hours from now, if I'm not mistaken, 3 hours from now, sorry, Theo, our community savior and hero, will actually do this version of this presentation. It usually takes much longer. Theo likes being here for 2 hours in a row, which is crazy. The French room talk happens in 3 hours from now. So if you missed that, don't miss it. Go see Theo. He's going to be auctioning some live OG NFTs as well in that one. It's going to be very exciting. And we're going to use this last part of this open kitchen to answer some questions that have been happening on the comments. So if this is your first open kitchen, we end this with a live AMA. This is your moment right now in the comments on YouTube, on X, to shoot your shot. Ask me anything that was not clear for you, any doubts that you still have, anything that you want to know, any alpha that you hope that I might leak to you. This is the moment for you to do it. I'm going to go scanning through these questions right now. Alice Joffrey says, you get a product, then you get a token. Absolutely. We're not, Nomu is the opposite of Vaporware. We are building the most sound fundamentals in consumer. We're actually calling this consumer finance. This is the first time they were applying real Web3 primitives to the simple consumer that has never had anybody take care of him. Everything the consumer has had for the last 30 years is either inflation being eroded from his purchasing power, or tariffs being imposed on whatever he wants to buy, salaries not matching up with the rising cost of living. Nomu actually looks back at all of these issues and goes, how can we empower you? So what is the difference between Web 2 and Web 3? I keep saying this. Web 2 is read and write. Web 3 is read, write, and own. How can we give ownership to consumers? And how, in this case, can we unlock consumption as working capital for all of these people that have never been taken care of before? So if we can actually create a return on shopping, this is what Nomu is in a nutshell, then we're in an incredible position to empower billions of people around the world. It's an incredibly vast, long journey, but it starts with this, and given how far we've already come in just a few months, we're in the best possible position to actually make this happen. Simon asks a question. So TG won't happen for September, am I right? Simon, you are right. However, TG will be announced in September. It's in the next Open Kitchen, and I hope it's clear why we're doing it. We are just securing legal framework so that when we TG, we can go full speed and don't hold back on anything and just completely destroy Solana and Web3 generally speaking. Okay, we've got many more questions coming in. When is the next Open Kitchen? That's a very good question. It usually is about every 2 weeks. We'll try and hold that schedule for next time. It will be in about 2 or 3 weeks from now. So towards the end of September, you get a next Open Kitchen. What happens if you don't buy the product? This could get expensive quickly. Is the only way to get exposure to the token? No, of course, the token will be a tradable asset on the secondary market. So you can just go on Jupiter, you can just go on whatever platform you normally use to buy your token. Swissborg, if you're a Swissborg user. The point is that tokens need to be tied to real product success, to real economic activity that goes beyond its own economic activity. That is the key point of where tokens have failed in the past and where tokens need to correct. And crypto assets, generally speaking, NFTs included, need to correct into the future. We have stocks coming on chains. We have soon penny stocks coming on chain. Penny stocks are as volatile as any shitcoin that you might name, but actually give you underlying ownership of a business. So as a Web3 native asset, how do you compete with that? Well, you need to be able to tie an asset to real economic activity in a compliant manner. And that's what we are pioneering here with Nomu in a fashion that I haven't seen anywhere before in Web3 being done. Actually, a few companies are starting to do similar things. Flash Trade is a great example. DeFi Tuna is a great example. D-Bridge on Solana. These are all this new meta that we call ref coins that tie revenue somewhat into the token. Xborg is doing a very good job at that as well, has started the program. Obviously, you need to be able to find the right balance between doing that without falling into the scheme of a security. And so there's a line to be danced on. The regulations are also improving, so we're getting more clarity on how to do it. That's the risk right now, is the lack of clarity, really. And so projects are becoming bolder, are becoming more aggressive towards the idea of bringing real value back to the token. This idea of utility tokens, of governance tokens that have no tie to business make no sense. And so Nomu, we are tying that back in by design, and not because we want to sacrifice our own treasury for buybacks, which is a suboptimal way of doing it. We are baking it into the very design of the ecosystem by saying the whole ecosystem of Nomu is designed around the idea of redistributing value back to consumers. And so we're redistributing that value back through the Nomu token. And the way that happens is that whenever you buy a product on Nomu, part of that, the margin of that product, so the difference between the cost and the price, is used to buy back the Nomu token and distribute it to those people who bought that token. But it means that if you hold the token as just a normal holder, you actually get direct exposure to the combined and cumulated buying pressure of all the products that are being sold constantly on the Nomu platform. And as we grow catalog, as we grow volumes, as we expand in vertically through different product verticals, but also horizontally in different markets, this keeps compounding. And essentially you have a token that has millions of dollars of organic volume happening because we are constantly buying back that token and redistributing it to people who actually have skin in the game. It is an incredible flywheel that also keeps bringing the token to new people. And so the community keeps growing. It is, if you looked at what Rect Drinks does, and we met the Rect team in Lisbon a couple of months ago, they've done an amazing job. But I think what we're doing is pushing that narrative even further by making it sustainable and having that token come from real revenue, from the specific products rather than just like airdropping it out of thin air. So this flywheel will continue to grow, and we're just at the beginning of it. And tying business success to tokens is just such a no-brainer. Should have been done 4 years ago. We are doing it now. I hope that answers the question. That was a bit of a long one. I'll take a couple more before we end the show. One day, would it be possible to have some revenue share about the entire branded Nomu restaurant? Do we think it's possible? Well, we haven't announced that we're going to do a restaurant. We might do one with Scotty Sushi. These are all different things that are happening in the coming months. Again, it will be tied and subject to different regulatory environments to make sure that it's legally sound. But of course, the idea is that we start with the redistributing value from specific product batches, but obviously beyond that, you want to be able to get exposure to long-term business success. And so the roadmap of Nomu is at long term going towards this direction, getting exposure onto the highest possible level into a business. And it could be a restaurant, it could be actual business. And so as equity and tokens will keep merging in the future, we will be at the forefront of that meta. That's where Nomu keeps positioning itself. And so if you believe in that, then Nomu is essentially the e-commerce play of this meta. That's the simplest way I can explain it. If Shopify had a token 10 years ago, this is what we're doing right now. In Nomu we trust. Yes, we do. Thank you, Valuptilu. There have been questions about how BorgPad launch pre-sale will work. Maybe you can share some insights. Yes, there will be a pre-sale on BorgPad and on Swissborg. So we're trying to distribute the token to as many people as possible at the beginning, of course. Everything that's going to be raised there is strictly going to be used for liquidity. So none of it is a treasury raise. It's just for liquidity seeding. And you're going to be able to get in at $1.5 million FDV, which is the same valuation as everybody else got in, including myself and including everybody on the team. There's been no free tokens given to anybody, not your favorite KOL, not the Martini guy, not any of the big partners that we have on board. Everybody bought in at the exact same valuation and has the exact same P&L curve to ride. So the key benefit of these two pre-sales is that you're going to be able to get in at this exact same level as well. The counterparty of that is that it's going to be very small in size, because $1.5 million FDV is incredibly low, and it's purposely designed that way so that we can bring value back on chain rather than behind closed doors to angel investments, VCs, whatever. That's the opposite way of what we're doing. This whole low float, high FDV meta of a few years, we are applying the exact opposite of it. Is Côté Sushi partnership dead? No, it is not, Simon. But the truth is that things move much quicker in Web3. So we have focused a lot on a Web3 angle. It is a Web3 token, so Côté Sushi will happen, but it will just happen in the due time that is meant to happen. It is a bit more complicated to pull off. It's physical product. It's perishable product. Like sushi doesn't hold very long. You got to eat in the next 2 hours. So just operationally, it's not as easy as selling some other products. And as we start building a supply chain and operations, there's better ways to start. Is it worth to have more than 5 OG NFTs? Do we get more bonus? I think if you have 5 OG NFTs, it's good. There's obviously a accumulated bonus that is happening as you have more OG NFTs, but it doesn't increase exponentially. 5 gives you like a 33% nom bonus and everything. We're not going to make it more than that, because we need, again, the whole idea is we need to distribute the NFTs. We don't want 5 guys to have all the NFTs. There's no point in that. Ideally, we are tomorrow in a situation where there's so much demand that people are forced to sell NFTs, and we get close to 1,000 people holding 1,000 NFTs. That would be the theoretical ideal. Salvador says, great question, by the way. I'm not sure which question that is, but yeah, dBridge is working very well. So they actually allocate 100% of the platform revenues into the token as buybacks. Great example. Again, buybacks, if you are anywhere familiar in traditional finance, it is not necessarily the most elegant way of putting value back into an asset, because any buyback that you do from treasury, which is what they're doing, but I mean treasury meaning that this would have been fees that would have accrued in their treasury, is money that you don't have to reinvest in the token, in the product itself, right? So point of the token is that it's meant to help you build your product. If you keep sacrificing revenue for the token, it becomes fragile at one point. So that's what's the key difference with Nomu, is that we're actually not taking that out of treasury. We are simply distributing the Nomu asset to the pre-buys of the token. So it doesn't come out from us; it comes out from the partners who use that buyback, that portion of the revenue that's used as buyback, as a customer acquisition cost. So it's replacing CAC with how you're going to get ambassadors on board, because they start earning if your product starts selling. So key fundamental design difference between how everybody who does a buyback has been doing it so far and how Nomu will do it in the future. And I haven't seen anybody else do it this way yet. So I can even dedicate a whole section about this in the future Open Kitchen to explain to you exactly the difference, but it's a key fundamental design difference. Y aura-t-il un palier dit au NFT pour le Nomu Boost? Will there be an extra reward for holding 10 NFTs? It comes back to the previous question. The short answer will be probably not. Very welcome. Lucas says, could we collab with Kiros? Yes, the Kiros team is invested in Nomu. We are invested in Kiros. Love Flo. Amazing guy. If you don't follow Flo on X, you should. He's the head of Kiros. And actually, I think Kiros has some very exciting news to announce. I don't want to front run Kiros here. There's not my place to do it, but keep an eye on Kiros in the coming days. I think they're going to announce some really big stuff. Having an OG NFT means you have top priority to pre-buy Nomu future products. Yes, there's a whole bunch of utilities that are going to come with the OG NFT. The Nomu reward pool is only one. The whole reward center that we're going to deploy is this whole collection of utilities that you're going to get. And the key point is these utilities are going to be crystal clear. It shouldn't be like a typical Web3 utility that tells you governance and you start voting on something that no one really cares about. That's not utility. That's nonsense. Utility is a reason why you keep subscribing to something. Spotify, if you're willing to pay $20 a month to Spotify, whatever it is, 15, is because they give you some really good utility. You get some really good value back for that. So that's the same logic we need to apply to assets in Web3. Utilities need to mean benefits that are clear as daylight. And Nomu is going to work as a pioneer of that in the space. Not because we are smarter than anybody else. It's just because Web3 has been very bad at that. So there's a lot to learn from Web2. Rarity will be used as rewards. No. So owning, that was my post of a couple of days ago, and I'm going to end it here. Maybe one more question after that. Owning an OG NFT is a rational decision. You're not doing it for speculation. You're doing it for the utility you're going to get. It's not because you're going to resell it back. It's because of the value you're going to get from us. Choosing which NFT to own, that is an emotional decision. We obviously try to play by creating these amazing characters that you see in front of me, to be able to go back to this fundamental truth of the best way to build community, any kind of real life digital community, is to allow people to express their own personality within a community and thrive individually within a community, not against it. It's always thriving together. Some can thrive more, some can thrive less, that's fine, but it's the idea of thriving together. And so for that, we didn't want to batch everybody with the same plain image. We wanted to make it unique. And so, of course, some of them are a bit more special than others. And if you really want one, it's a greater way of doing it. But you will get the same rewards as a matter of fairness for everybody. Theo says, we love Kyros. Yes, we do. How are we going to avoid bot snipers tokens at launch? Excellent question. That's a question for future Open Kitchen. I'm not going to go now into the token because it's a whole different subject, and we're going to cover that at length. As you know, from the Nomu team, we've got, my previous job was co-founding Borgpad, which was literally the launchpad of Swissborg. So we're in the best position to mitigate snipers. It doesn't mean snipers always exist. It's always a risk, but we'll be able to think about them proactively and hopefully minimize any kind of risk. Will there be other Nomu NFTs in the future with a different concept? No OG, of course, but something else. We'll try and tie all the value back to OGs. I think it's the simplest way of doing it. So the short answer at the moment is no. And with that, guys, the Cyber Brother agrees with me. Governance is a low indeed. Thank you, everybody who's been in the chat. It's been overwhelming to see all the messages. I can't scroll on the screen. Thank you for being to this Open Kitchen. I hope you learned a little bit. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had some laughs all together in the chat. For me, it was a pleasure as always. It is now close to midnight, 7 minutes to midnight where I am. It's time for me to go to bed. I wish you a great afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you're in the world. Much love. And let's give each other a huge Wagyu in the chat. I want to see the chat overflowing with Wagyus. Let's finish it off. We've got the first Wagyus coming in. If you don't Wagyu now, what are you even doing? Why have you been watching the last 53 minutes? Wagyu, Wagyu, Wagyu. Thank you as well, Sander. Appreciate it. We're going to create some shorts out of this so that it becomes more digestible for everybody who didn't have 53 minutes to watch to listen to this. Wagyu, le Sicilien. Thank you as well, Absentiste. Wagyu, Wagyu. They're all coming in. It's a bit too much to follow. We've got over 300 people watching us live. It's crazy numbers. Thank you so much. You got another good Wagyu. Simon is so right. Wagyu, wise pagan. You seem very wise indeed. I like you, man. Wagyu Fifox, Wagyu Chris Colton, Wagyu Stéphane Valuptilou, Cyber Brother, Vivianos de la Mancha on that end. Guys, much love. Thank you. And I'll see you in a couple